Hello, my name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor. Welcome to your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, we'll examine the state of renewable energy project development in Mexico and the companies looking to exit and enter the market. The election of Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum was supposed to usher in a new era of renewable energy project development opportunities in Mexico. The reality, unfortunately, has been anything but rosy. Lack of adequate transmission, long interconnection queues, uncertainty over power offtake by the CFE, as well as legal issues around dispute resolution have led to a chaotic implementation of the reforms. And Mexico's currently grappling with 400 megawatts worth of wasted wind energy capacity as three fully constructed wind farms basically remain inoperative, stalled by persistent regulatory uncertainty and lack of interconnection. These projects represent over 5% of the country's current installed wind power capacity, and they're awaiting clear definitions within Mexico's new legal framework for the electricity sector. Ensuring legal certainty and establishing the technical conditions, it could mobilize up to $30 billion in new renewable energy projects. The new government has set ambitious goals of generating 45% of the country's energy from clean power sources by 2030, a significant increase from current levels. The full operation of those 400 megawatts worth of stalled wind power projects would immediately contribute. But this reflects a wider issue in the country. Regulatory uncertainty has already caused Iberdrola to exit the market and has Acciona Energy also contemplating the sale of their operating portfolio as well. Iberdrola has agreed to sell its remaining business in Mexico last week to the Cox Group for $4.2 billion. The transaction includes an operating installed capacity of 2,600 megawatts, of which 1,368 corresponds to combined cycle and cogeneration plants. 1,232 megawatts corresponds to renewable energy assets. And they've also got a portfolio of 12 gigawatts worth of development projects across all technologies. The move follows Iberdrola's sale of 55% of its Mexican business to the government back in 2024 for $6.2 billion. That was based on a deal reached after public disputes with then President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. That sale included 12 gas-fired power plants and one wind farm totaling 8,539 megawatts. Needless to say, Iberdrola was a little off-put about the way they were treated in the Mexican market. On the heels of that successful deal, Acciona Energy is reviewing its entire portfolio of renewable energy assets, and specifically projects in Mexico, as part of their ongoing asset rotation strategy. Their renewables portfolio in Mexico consists of 1,076 megawatts of wind power capacity and 405 megawatts of solar photovoltaic capacity as of the end of June. Now, for her part, President Sheinbaum insisted that private generation remains possible and legally secure in Mexico, provided that it aligns with national legislation. She noted that there are clear rules for private companies to operate and generate power with options to sell that electricity to CFE or on the wholesale electricity market. But the process of integrating these projects into the grid remains very slow, and it underscores the pressing need for substantial reinforcement of the national transmission and distribution networks there. By 2030, the country needs to build at least 15,000 kilometers of new transmission lines, according to the National Electricity System Development Program. But without long-term auctions or clear rules, the requirements for participation in the wholesale electricity market is leaving private companies reluctant to continue to invest. PPA contracts arising from auctions could cover up to 95% of the increasing electricity demand. Prices are around $30 a megawatt hour US, but in isolated regions like the Yucatan Peninsula, they exceed $100 a megawatt hour. And while the Electricity Sector Act codifies certain regulations, additional laws are required to define how ancillary services or energy storage that could be required to provide grid stability would be integrated into the whole system. Currently, Mexico has 75 operating wind farms, which contribute 7,812 megawatts into the system. That's equivalent to over 5.68% of the national electricity mix. But ultimately, the Mexican wind sector could help to secure private investment of more than 6.5 billion in the coming years to support Mexico's commitments to the Paris Agreement. That investment covers about 30 projects in the development and permitting pipeline with defined property and reserve income agreements. That adds up to a total capacity of just over 5,000 megawatts. And at the end of the day, IntelStor remains upbeat on the market potential there, and we believe that President Sheinbaum understands the need for better legal certainty to unlock investment. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of truth to power. Follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel, as well as your favorite audio platforms. And visit www.intelstore.com to join more than 200,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. A full analysis of the renewable energy market in Mexico is available to subscribers. And if you haven't done so already, register today for the next Wind Summit event in Houston, Texas this October. Visit www.windsummit.org and join hundreds of your industry colleagues from companies like NextEra, EDPR, EDF, Pattern Energy, Clearway, Apex Clean Energy, and more. We hope to see you there.